You know that feeling when you're facing a huge decision and you just feel stuck? Like you're only seeing it from one angle? Well, what if you could see that exact same problem from every single perspective all at the same time?
And look, that's a real question because most of the time, our thinking is way more limited than we think it is. We're all operating inside our own little box, a box that's built by our own experiences.
So let's get into it. In this explainer, we're going to talk about why our worldviews are so limited. Then we'll look at a new AI tool that's trying to break us out of that. We'll explore the crazy impact that kind of simulation can have, and then we'll get to the future of all this, something they're calling a God mode for thinking.
All right, first up, our limited worldview. I mean, why is it so easy to get stuck in our own heads?
Well, it all comes down to this idea of a world model. Just think of it like your personal mental map of how reality works. It's not the world as it actually is, it's the world as you've learned it to be. And every single thing you do, every decision you make, it's all filtered through this one-of-a-kind map. And here's the perfect way to picture how this works in real life. The engineer with a hammer problem, right? If your world model is built on engineering, you're always going to reach for an engineering solution. But what happens if the problem really needs empathy? Or maybe a political solution? When the pressure is on, our world model kind of forces our thinking down a single track, and it can blind us to other options that are right there.
Okay, so how do we break out of that trap? That brings us to section 2, a tool for new perspectives. We're basically looking at a prototype for what you might call an empathy engine.
Now, how this tool works is actually pretty straightforward. First, you just define a complex situation. Then the AI jumps in and figures out all the different people involved, the key stakeholders. And from there, you get to step into the shoes of any of them, make decisions, and then just watch. You see these wild, non-linear consequences ripple out. A tiny decision one person makes could set off a whole chain reaction you would never, ever see coming. This is such a great example of its power. Let's say you're running a big pharma company during a global crisis. Your gut instinct might tell you to do just one thing. But this tool, it instantly shows you this whole other space of possibilities. Should you be accelerating research partnerships? Or maybe you should focus on securing your intellectual property. What about controlling the supply chain? Or should you rush out an early access program? Suddenly, you're seeing all these different dimensions to the problem that just get lost in the fog of war. And actually using a tool like this, well, it has a really profound effect on your brain. Which brings us to section 3, the impact of simulation, how it actually challenges and adds new layers to your world model. I mean, check this out. This is feedback from an actual user. Before they used the simulation, their viewpoint was super simple. China's bad. But after playing as that stakeholder, their perspective was totally rewired. It's not that they suddenly agreed with everything, but they understood it. They saw these complex motivations, these internal pressures they had never even thought about before. Their world model didn't just change, it got a whole new level of detail.
So here's the really crucial thing. This builds empathy. For example, if you're an intelligence agent, you can probably justify certain actions from inside your bubble. But what happens when the tool makes you play as a journalist and you have to experience those exact same actions from the outside? You are literally seeing the world from the other side of the action, and that changes everything.
One of the creators just summed it up perfectly. It's not even about finding the one right answer, just the experience itself. The ability to think in new dimensions you didn't know existed, that alone is fascinating. It's a powerful outcome all on its own. And this all points to a much bigger idea. This thing isn't just a game or some training module. Which brings us to section 4. This is really a workbench for thinking. It's about taking strategic planning and giving it to everyone. The creators make a really important distinction here. A product is usually a guided experience, right? It's for training you on a specific thing. But this is a workbench. It's general purpose, it's dynamic, you build your own scenarios. It's not for following a script, it's a tool for real reasoning and research. And that right there is the key innovation. I mean, high-level strategic simulation isn't new. It's been used for decades in war games and by crisis management teams, but it's always been this super complex, super expensive thing that was totally inaccessible. The goal here is to finally make this powerful way of thinking available and scalable for everybody. So, where is all this headed? Let's look into the future. In our final section, Section 5. We're talking about the incredible vision for a scalable platform that includes a God mode. The future plans for this workbench are just wild. Imagine a multiplayer chat where you can actually negotiate with other stakeholders in real time. Or picture a complexity slider where you can take a scenario from 5 key players all the way up to 100. Then there's transparent reasoning, so you can literally see the AI's thought process. And the big one, the ultimate goal, a God mode, a true meta view where you can see how the entire system connects and moves. This creates these 3 amazing levels of sight. You can zoom right in to your own personal, boots-on-the-ground perspective. You can zoom out a bit to a participant view and see how everyone else is reacting. And then you can zoom all the way out to that God mode meta view and see the entire board. Being able to shift between those altitudes of thought is what builds what they call the muscle for simulation. So this leaves us with a pretty mind-bending question. We are right on the edge of having tools that don't just help us see our own world a little better, but actually let us step into completely different ones. If you had access to this workbench, if you could simulate any complex future you could imagine, what would you explore first?